What's the world's biggest bull capable of? How big horns can bulls have? What do the largest pigeons and rams on the planet look like? Now you'll see and learn everything. In this edition, I'll show you the biggest animals on farms, and not only. We'll start with such an interesting photo a subscriber shared. He assures that this animal is actually real. It lives somewhere on a private farm and simply amazes with its capabilities, surpassing all other horned creatures several times. What exactly this bull is? They didn't find out. It's completely different from the breeds known to people. It's too big, powerful, and frightening. They say it can plow a whole huge field on its own. If you ask me, I find that hard to believe. Such a strong animal exists. Sizes are too steep, and abilities too impressive. Although, who knows? Maybe Mother Nature did surprise people with something like this. Anyway, write in the comments, what do you think about it? Well, we'll move on to the species and breeds that are already known to people and still stand out against the background of cattle. The first one I'd like to talk to you about is, of course, the gaur, because it's the largest member of the genus of real bulls. Just some super bodybuilder, or even Mr. Olympia of the animal world, seriously. Although it's wrong to call him a jock in one sense because no gyms and no diet in life would bring us closer to such results. This giant can grow to almost 8.2 feet in height and weigh about 1.5 tons. It seems that the animal eats hundreds of kilograms of meat every day, but this is not the case. In fact, the gaur doesn't eat anything like that at all. All its food is grass, leaves, small fruits, and sometimes dirt. In short, anything that doesn't need to be hunted because this bull isn't predatory. Except for that, walks to the mountains for these bulls are an obligatory rule. It has a positive effect on health and opens the way to fresh fruits. And also, if it's lucky, on the way to the mountains, a gaur can meet a predator and hone its fighting skills on the latter. Why'd I say lucky? Because there's practically nothing anyone can do against the bull. Even if a crocodile attacks a youngster, it's far from certain that it'll be able to cope with it. At least due to the fact that these bulls constantly travel in groups of 5 to 10 specimens. And if a predator sees a young bull, it's likely to be followed by several brethren it's better not to quarrel with. Interestingly, it's the female that leads the cloven-hoofed animals in such journeys. She protects the congeners from attacks, leads them to fertile lands, and keeps an eye on the young. Her brethren trust her maternal instinct and experience, so they obey her unconditionally in any, even stressful situation. Besides, who else would they listen to? Alpha males don't usually appear in such groups. They live alone because they can fend for themselves. They only come to visit during the mating season for obvious and natural reasons. Up next, we have the Asian, Indian, or water buffalo. Call it what you like. It's all the same bull. It's also considered one of the largest in the world. The adult specimens reach 9.8 feet in length. Its height at the shoulders is 6.6 feet or so with the weight of about 1 ton. Despite its rather lazy way of life, water buffaloes look impressive. Although they're inferior in size to the gaur, the same tigers still cannot cope with them. Besides, there's always a support hiding in the vicinity. Only these are not bulls but rhinoceroses the Asian buffalo often grazes with. If the animal hangs out in such dirty places, why not eat accordingly? And the word dirty here plays into the water buffalo's hands. After all, mud for them is a first-class way to cool down on hot days, as well as an excellent source of minerals and other useful substances. In addition, there's a lot of vegetation in or near the water, which only positively affects their life. But the buffalo decided to go beyond. As the animal developed, it learned to invite white cranes so that they could eat parasites on its back. The birds feel good, they don't need to try a lot. At the same time, the bulls are satisfied because they become cleaner and healthier. Ankole Watusi. That's the name of the next breed of cattle developed in Africa. These cows reach an incredible 8.2 feet, not in length of their body. 8.2 feet is the length of their horns. They weigh up to 88 pounds, which is more than many animals. They weigh up to 88 pounds, which is more than many animals. The weight of the bull itself is usually a little less than a ton, But who cares when it has such a bright crown on its head? This breed appeared many years ago and almost immediately attracted all the attention of others. People were amazed by such a large body build and endurance of the bull, as well as its unpretentiousness in food. What a pumped neck this animal has is a separate matter. It's the incredibly pumped muscles that allow the giant to carry such a heavy weapon on its head. Yes, weapon. Such majestic banduras are necessary for Watusi, not only to show off in front of people or the opposite sex, but also to protect itself and its family. These horns are literally permeated with a huge number of blood vessels. In fact, they're giant heat exchangers installed on the head. It's thanks to them that representatives of this large cattle can easily endure even hot conditions and graze under the scorching sun. Hence the following positive fact about these bulls and cows: they're incredibly easy to look after. The giants usually need an eye on them, but that's not how it works here. They're spread all over Africa and have no maintenance problems whatsoever. But not everyone keeps them, put it mildly. After all, the Watusi give little milk. No big thing, this breed gives more than enough meat, you'll think, and you'll be wrong. They're not good for this purpose either. Watusi are bred exclusively for raising other breeds, however strange it may sound. The fact is that their calves are very small, and this is a huge advantage when delivering and nursing. The smaller the calf, the less risk to the cow in giving birth. Some people also breed them just for the sake of status. It's not for nothing that in the old days, the cattle with the largest horns belonged to the chief of the tribe and were considered sacred. Even nowadays, many locals are convinced that hunting these cows is like committing an unforgivable sin. It's time to talk about rams, more precisely about the largest representative of them in the world. Its name is Altai mountain sheep, but in general, it has quite a few alternative names: Argali, Tian Shan sheep, and even Altai Argali. It's not for nothing that the cloven-hooved mammal gathers so many interested people around it, because everyone is interested in watching the ram, whose credo is to be stronger, faster, and higher than the others. It's heavier and faster than its fellows and also wears horns on his head at 15% of his total body weight. Just some kind of cattle Superman. Well, seriously. This brutal animal reaches about 440 pounds of pure weight. Females grow not so large, 2 to 3 times less, but at the same time remain gigantic by common standards. By the way, it's not only with the help of scales that you can determine who exactly is standing in front of you. It'll be enough to pay attention to the horns. Females, instead of them, have simple curls, but the males have a crown. Sometimes the horns can be so huge that males have to sleep on them. The only sad thing is that the horns can't separate from the animal and, like some kind of drone, fly and collect greenery. Well, since they're so cool and omnipotent, nature would have added this function to them. As it is, the lambs have to divide into groups and go to collect grass personally. And this activity takes most of their daily time because leaves cannot be called especially valuable for calories. Therefore, this Altai sheep has to collect 33 to 44 pounds of them daily. They collect them carefully, looking around. Of course, these rams are strong, but still, few people will want to join the battle. Why waste energy? The ram's excellent eyesight allows them to spot the enemy in the distance, so they can easily avoid unnecessary encounters. What are those? Dinosaur feet? Some kind of giant lizard or maybe an alien? Wait, you should have just said so. They're Dong Tao chickens. Didn't you know about them? I'm kidding, of course. No one would have thought that there could be such giant chickens in nature. Let me tell you right away, these beauties aren't sick, they aren't tortured, and no mutagens have been injected into their blood. They're just the way they are from birth. There's nothing you can do about it. Rare plumage, sluggish crest, and of course, scary paws, as if swollen from an overdose of steroids. Thankfully, it doesn't affect their well-being at all. Nature just calls it a peculiarity. How can we humans ignore it? It's scary to keep chickens like that, isn't it? Imagine if you don't feed them or give them tasty forage. They'll trample without batting an eye. These birds are very massive. Roosters reach a weight of 11 to 15 pounds, and hens are only a few pounds less. In terms of food, they differ from vegetarians. The elephant chickens don't care about grass, they want worms and more. And not just any worms, in general, all sorts of small creatures with a high protein content. However, protein isn't the secret of their success in terms of those big feet. The whole point is that in the past, roosters of this breed were specially raised for fights that were incredibly popular. The feet, of course, were their main weapon. So coming up with a mutation that would make them as big as possible was the key to their success. Despite their past, the birds are very kind to their brethren. Anyway, they certainly don't like humans. You have to try hard to earn respect from these birds. Well, meet the giant pigeon. A giant pigeon? You weren't expecting it? Well, I too, to put it mildly, was surprised when I first heard about it. However, there's no need to belittle this handsome pigeon now. This breed weighs 4 times more than other pigeons. They can't fly and are very popular at exhibitions. In short, they're not the pigeons we're used to seeing on the streets. In addition, their meat is considered super elite, but that's another story. These well-fed birds appeared relatively recently in 1921. The royal birds are the result of a mixture of truly noble bloods. The Roman, Maltese, and carrier pigeons took part in the creation of the breed. So this miracle was born that can weigh up to 3.5 pounds. Flying at such a size is equal to not respect yourself and your muscles. So the king just confidently walks on the ground and beautifies itself in front of others. Not surprisingly, there were those who liked these birds as pets. In general, they're usually given a nice haircut, neatly tinted, in a word, groomed, and then sent to the exhibition where they take prizes. Among other things, they're easy to care for in terms of food and conditions. As a bonus, they'll bring the owner's offspring so they can then get back the money spent on their maintenance. In a year, this bird can make 5 to 6 clutches. Well, what's a giant creature edition without pigs, right? These animals are the backbone of farming and the epitome of big. The Duroc is an ancient breed of domestic pigs developed in the United States that's become the basis for many mixed breeds. It was raised back in the 1800s in New England. There's a theory that these pigs were taken from Guinea right around the time of the slave trade. That may not have been the case, and in any way, it's what we have now. Tight, athletic pigs that weigh just, what? 400 pounds? Where'd they get that much weight? And the main weight is clearly not fat but muscle, as their body structure indicates. It seems that these creatures would be ideal companions for any farmer on the planet, but for some reason, no one's in a hurry to get a Duroc pig. What is it already? It's all about the conditions of their keeping. Farming implies not only a cool result, but also a relatively easy breeding process, so that it's not too difficult for people to keep an eye on all the animals at the same time. And here, one pig requires so much attention that it's just something. An old barn's no good for it. Durocs are sensitive to temperature and humidity fluctuations and need a spacious place to walk outdoors. Secondly, their fertility leaves much to be desired. A female pig usually produces no more than 8 piglets at a time, while other pigs have about twice that number. Grevy's zebra. Zebras are usually distinctive and unruly, but the Grevy species, named after the French president, has another definition. They're huge. So much that these striped zebras can stroll the merciless savannas all alone without fear of being attacked by a dangerous cat. The weight of an adult reaches 880 pounds, with a body length of about 10 feet. Grevy zebra is not only the largest zebra, but also, except for domesticated animals, the largest representative of the horse family. At the same time, it does not rampage and does not try to infringe on anyone's rights. The striped walks peacefully and eats grass 15 hours a day. It also doesn't walk to water bodies too often, as she gets most of the necessary fluid from grass. And it's a dangerous thing to do. Who knows, there might be a hungry crocodile waiting underwater. Why risk your health when a zebra can survive for 5 days without fluids in case of emergency? Lion versus tiger. Who will come out victor from the scuffle? Let's see. A case in the reserve. You can see how the tiger becomes the initiator of the fight. It starts it for no reason at all, just out of personal motives. Maybe it didn't share a territory with a lion or something like that. In any case, the moment the tiger attacked the lion, there was no way back. The king of the jungle, known for its fiery temper, was no longer ready to stop the fight itself and intended to bring it to an end. The lion counterattacked, interrupting the striped cat's attack series, and at one point even dropping it on its back. But it didn't really bring real result. Each animal had expended only a fraction of its energy. but they were already trying to examine the terrain and choose a better position. For this purpose, the tiger and the lion tried to get out of the pit in which they were fighting. However, as it turned out, it would only be possible to do with some rest. And since there's an enemy nearby, they'll have to fight until their last breath before they can leave this unfortunate pit. And so it was. The decisive battle had begun. The one where no one spared any more strength or energy, where no one beat half-heartedly or studied its opponent. Now everything was at stake. The first to tire of this battle was the tiger. The striped creature was several years younger than the lion, but it got tired faster. This was probably due to the body's unpreparedness for such an extreme release of energy in a short period of time. But don't think that the lion's fine. Even though its strength did not leave it, as it happened to the tiger, it received no less damage. Many wounds, bruises, and marks from the tenacious claws of the enemy. This prompted the lion to go on the final attack, now or never. The Big Cage. That's the name of the movie, a clip from which I would like to show you now. The movie was released in 1933, so there's no question about the quality of the video. Well, here we see a slightly different story. Unlike the first case, in this one the tiger wins. It skillfully defeated the king of the jungle and finally grabbed it by its neck. If not for the circus workers who woke up at just the right moment, the tiger would have easily dealt with its potential prey. Nevertheless, the striped creature was chased with water, and who knows in whose favor the fight would have ended further. So what do you think of this battle, accompanied by constant snarling? Did you change your mind about the most powerful cat of our time? Usurper. Yeah, that's the word I want to use for another tiger that once again attacked a lion surreptitiously. Only this time it didn't happen in the wild or even in a movie. The location was a real circus and a performance that was in full swing. The lion obediently performed along with the handler, performing tricks and getting food for the tricks. But the tiger obviously didn't like something in this action, either to attract attention to itself or just to show its dissatisfaction. The tiger rushed upon the lion and almost started a big fight. The animal was stopped only after several heavy objects were thrown at it. I wonder what made the striped cat behave so aggressively. Is it really true that there's a constant friction between these two big cats for no reason? Huh? Okay, I get it. These two seem to be the real actors who haven't won an Oscar yet. You probably don't understand why I jumped to that conclusion now, do you? Well, just have a look. In this video, the little tiger and the little lion are playing on the lawn. They don't have an ounce of aggression toward their companion, just a sincere desire to play, roll around on the ground, and somehow bite each other lightly. No more than that. It seems to me that this is the style in which they grow up, and when the size of the animals becomes many times larger, the fight takes on a different character. The danger and spectacle grows by leaps and bounds. Of course, I'm kidding, and there can't be any staging from animals, but I still really wish the cats wouldn't fight each other aggressively, but play and hunt together in a peaceful way, even as adults. But it seems impossible. Just look at how the lion responded to the tiger's provocation. Turning around, it flew into it so quickly that it didn't even have time to think about what was happening and to understand how to defend itself. Because the lion had female congeners nearby, it didn't want to resort to violent retaliation, but simply showed the tiger that it was not to be messed with. I think it learned this vital lesson. Somewhere in the wilderness, a promising fight between an African lion and a Bengal tiger caught the eyes of tourists. Yes, I also do not fully understand how these creatures generally encountered, but that doesn't matter. In any case, the fight was pretty quick, because it ended with a clear blow to the head from one of the opponents. Notice which creature was the first to back down. That's right, the coward was the lion, which started the fight. All it took for its mood to change was one good blow from the striped cat. Although, considering that Bengal tigers weigh more than 440 pounds, this single blow would be more than enough for many creatures. The tiger's strength is incredible. And here's another video example of a lion losing to a tiger. Yes, of course, the fight was tense and to some extent even. The lion dominated the first time. The king of the jungle was on top, not giving the tiger a chance to recover. The lion delivered punches one after another, not allowing its opponent to recover. However, as it happens in boxing, one missed punch could decide the outcome of the fight, and it doesn't matter who dominated until that moment. That's what happened in the wild. The tiger from the bottom position stunned the lion with a clear blow to the head. Moreover, the blow was so strong that the king of the jungle immediately decided to retreat without any desire to continue the fight. After watching all this footage, you might wonder, so which creature's stronger, the lion or the tiger? Well, it's really hard to tell from the clips. Sometimes the striped predator unequivocally dominated, and sometimes it just bullied the lion and, in the end, peacefully retreated. Let's try to break it down more thoroughly and compare the two cats. Size and temperament. The loser in this comparison, unfortunately, or fortunately for some, will be the lion. It weighs about 440 to 550 pounds. I'm talking about the African lion, the one we've already seen in action today. The tiger is much bigger. It can weigh more than 660 pounds. You must admit that the difference of 110 pounds of net weight will affect the result of the duel. It'll affect, but obviously will not prejudge it. After all, in addition to the size, the outcome of the fight is also affected by the level of aggression of a particular animal. However, here the tiger is also better than the lion and takes the lead. Brain size and bite force. According to the research at Oxford University, it was found that tigers have a much larger brain size in relation to body size than lions and other big cats. The tiger also has a larger skull volume. Even females of relatively small extinct Bali tigers, which weighed up to 143 to 176 pounds, had a skull comparable to that of the male South African lion, the average weight of which is 419 pounds. Well, if I give you statistics and figures, then according to scientists, the tiger's brain is about a quarter more than that of the lion. At the same time, tigers also have an excellent bite. Relative to the body, the bite force of tigers is much greater than that of lions. Behavior. Cats also have different behavior. They have a very big difference in the level of socialization. Lions are animals that live in groups. They can be lazier and slower because the pride gives them a better chance of survival. The tiger, as a typical loner, must keep its ears to the ground and always be ready for any lightning attack. After all, only the tiger is responsible for its condition for tomorrow. Fights in nature. From today's stories, you might conclude that fights between these creatures are inevitable, but in fact, that's not the case at all. They have completely different lifestyles. While the lion is a tyrant that will go its own way and try to build up its dominance over others, the tiger is a careful strategist that will only accept a fight if it considers it advantageous. Because of this, in most cases when these creatures encounter, it's the tiger that retreats first. Congeners can always be behind the lion, and this will mean the imminent death of the striped cat. The tiger believes that it's better to wait a little, explore the territory, and only then make a surgically precise attack. The fight between the tiger and the lion. And if it does come down to it, it'll be something like a battle of two styles in MMA. The lion will try to constantly attack, attempting to squeeze the tiger out. When the tiger starts to retreat, the lion will rush after it. However, the tiger is an excellent and fast boxer that, unlike the lion, uses both forepaws to deliver its punches. Thus, it throws the lion off balance and overturns it. Nevertheless, such punches do not have full force, so the lion gets up and returns to the fight. Existing records tend to confirm such a style. But it should not be forgotten that if the fight takes place in open terrain, tigers will almost always retreat, deeming the fight pointless. The only exception would be the Bengal tiger. It's not inferior to the lion in size and, on the contrary, will only show its desire to fight with the aggressive lion. And in most cases, it's the Bengal tiger that'll come out of the fight victorious. It's difficult to find an African herbivore that surpasses the rhino and the buffalo in terms of danger. Perhaps there is only one contender, the notorious hippo. Despite the fact that technically the hippo is a herbivore, it quite often attacks and eats other animals. It can also kill a human in no time. It's hippos that kill the most people in Africa, not lions or crocodiles. The relationship between these giants and lions is simple. If the lions do not touch the hippos, then the hippos will not attack the lions as well. But if a lion provokes a hippo by jumping into a pond, getting close to it, walking up to it, or doing something else, it'll be in trouble. The hippo is very heavy and assertive. Its giant mouth has 36 very sharp teeth, and its jaws are incredibly powerful. With one bite, a hippo can crush a lion's head like a watermelon. The only hope for the lion is to try to quickly bite the hippo in the mouth and make it loosen its grip. Elephant. And the final herbivores for today. The elephant is one of the symbols of Africa. The African bush elephant is the largest land animal on the planet. On average, the African bush elephant weighs 3 to 5 tons, grows up to 20 to 23 feet in length, and is almost 13 feet tall. Lions can only dream of such imposing size. They really respect and fear elephants and try not to mess with these giants. However, clashes sometimes occur. To defeat the elephant, the lions need to attack it with the whole pride and try to take it down. Then the elephant will be vulnerable and can be dealt with. But if it's standing and resisting, it's no use fighting. Its big size and thick skin are a big hindrance for the lions. At the same time, elephants themselves can attack lions. Being herbivores, they do so to protect their territory or their calves. As a rule, the lions just run away. If it comes to a real fight, however, the lions can get in a lot of trouble. After all, elephant tusks and limbs are terrible weapons. However, you don't have to be very heavy to finish off a lion. This is perfectly demonstrated by snakes. The notorious black mamba is particularly dangerous in this respect. This is a very large reptile. Among venomous snakes, it's second in size only to the king cobra, growing more than 10 feet in length. But more importantly, the black mamba is very fast and aggressive, and its venom is incredibly powerful. Even agile lions do not always manage to dodge the bite of the black mamba. If the bite is successful, the lion is probably finished. In this case, it may start convulsing and eventually die. It looks creepy. African pythons are also a danger to lions. However, they mainly attack only lion cubs. Inexperienced and small cats can fall into a deadly embrace from which it will not get out by itself. As in the case with the hyenas, a cub has to rely only on the help of its congeners or parents. Tiger. And lastly, why not take a look at another big cat? The tiger is also more than a worthy competitor for the lion. Yes, they live in different places. Lions live in Africa and tigers live in Asia. But battles between them do occur. They can encounter in a zoo or a circus. If a battle unfolds, the odds are about even. Still, the tiger has a slightly better chance. First of all, the tiger is bigger than the lion. It's the largest member of the cat's family, not counting hybrids like the liger. Second, the tiger hunts alone, while lions attack by an entire pride, which means the tiger is better prepared. Third, the tiger has stronger and longer teeth and is more agile than a lion. All these factors play into the tiger's hands, or paws, so it can finish off a lion in a fight. However, since such fights almost never take place in the wild, it usually doesn't come to such an outcome. Zoo and circus staff simply won't allow any of the animals to die. That's all, guys. What animals do you consider to be the strongest opponent for the lion? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.